So this was an interesting surprise. A new Hyrule Warriors game? Out of nowhere? Welcome to the stream, everybody. We're going to talk about this trailer. My voice may be a little weird. It's also the reason I'm late. We had a particularly intense jam today with lots of fast, heavy songs. So yeah, a little tired. Voice is a little not great. But we have a new Hyrule Warriors game that I wanted to talk about. Now, one, I just want to say this is not my fault. Sure, I talked about Hyrule Warriors and maybe a Nintendo Warriors concept like 3 days ago, but this is something that I didn't summon into existence, but I'm happy it's here. And we're going to watch the trailer and talk about it a little bit because I liked Hyrule Warriors and people want me to talk about Zelda and Mario things, and I'm more than happy to do so. So let's take a look. It's a new game.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of Calamity Ganon, a primal evil that has endured.
So this is like a different scene. Like when they show the Calamity in Breath of the Wild, they don't quite show it like this. So this is new cutscenes.
I think you are now ready.
But I don't know, like this, I think it's in its own engine.
100 years ago.
But just with the same shaders for the characters as Hyrule Warriors. As Breath of the Wild. And it looks pretty good, too. You can see some, like, pop in with the trees, but, you know, there's gonna be hundreds of enemies on the screen at the same time. And it still looks pretty good. It looks a lot like Breath of the Wild. I like that you can blow up that building. Now, I'm not going to do a deep dive analysis because you can watch a channel like Zeltic, or I'm sure 40 or 50 other channels that do that. But I think the fact that this takes place 100 years earlier is cool. Notice that the bomb can be thrown straight ahead, right? Like, you know, you can really chuck that bomb and then watch what happens to the structure. Did you see that? So maybe that's one way that you destroy structures in this game. Cannons. But yeah, I can't believe how fitting this is for the story of Breath of the Wild. It makes a lot of sense. Garuk is ready to roll, everybody. His protection. Sorry, it's Daruk. We call him Gary around these parts. I think this looks great. I liked Hyrule Warriors a lot, but I had some issues with it, and we'll talk about that.
We must protect everyone.
So, Aonuma was hanging out with the, and it's coming out pretty soon, too. And I have my theories about that, but Aonuma was hanging out with the director of this game, and he was talking about it. So they need more time for Breath of the Wild 2. And Breath of the Wild 2 seems like it's going to be, they want to fill the world with more things, which is good. I wasn't expecting it anymore this year because of COVID. So the fact that this game exists, and we're getting this year, and next year for the 35th anniversary of Zelda, we're going to get Breath of the Wild 2. Let's presume that's going to happen. You shouldn't assume because you make an ass out of me and Aonuma, but in this case, I'm going to assume that it'll be out next year. That would be cool. I'd be down for that. Age of Calamity this year, and then next year we get Breath of the Wild 2, and I feel like that makes sense for this kind of world. So you get the prequel 100 years before, fleshes out the story, the champions, the characters, and then the sequel, what happens after the Calamity is defeated. It feels like a fully realized Zelda story, which we don't get a lot of, and, you know, we'll get some good Zelda stuff here and there. Ocarina has a cool story. I think all the Zelda games have good stories when you really like kind of just distill them, but they're very simple. Most of the time it's just save Zelda. This time, now we're getting a really deep dive. That said, I did not expect a game A to be a sequel to Hyrule Warriors, to have such a, you know, drastic, like, change of art style, nor did I have it to have such an emphasis on story, which according to Aonuma, they worked very closely with Nintendo on the story, the voice lines, the script, and even the gameplay. So this is a prequel, but it's also, I'm calling it a sequel to the original Hyrule Warriors just because it's the next one. But I'm really happy about this. I lost many, many hours to Hyrule Warriors, and I enjoyed it, and I was actually thinking about it the other night, as you all know, and I mentioned it on stream, and as I was talking about it, I was like, hey, I kind of want to boot up Hyrule Warriors, but it's on the Wii U. Maybe I should buy it on the Switch, and I was like, nah, fuck it. This is perfect. Now I can play this. I will say, though, it does become very mindless. I'm okay with mindless every now and then. I just hope that there's a little bit more depth to the combat, to the gameplay. It looks like there is. It looks like there's more gameplay shit from Breath of the Wild brought into this, and that is exciting. But I definitely need a little bit more than hack slash slash hack. But yeah, it's cool. Very, very unexpected. Clearly, Nintendo did not want to announce these games unless they were sure they could meet the release window. I feel like that's what's going on here. And I'm disappointed we didn't have one full Nintendo Direct. But between last week and this week, it's stuff to look forward to. And this in particular, I think is going to be nice to have this holiday season for me. It's going to hold me over. And again, if we had an E3 this year, you know, that Mario stuff plus this, plus Paper Mario, plus a couple other little things that we probably don't know about, would have made for a pretty good E3, depending on what the other stuff was. So, whatever the case, we didn't quite get a huge Direct, and I'm excited that we're getting something, and it's happening just like no big fanfare. Here it is. Just wake up this morning, and then there's a Hyrule Warriors game. So I'll say a couple more things, though. Yeah, I think it needs that that map mode. I don't really know what mode it was, but I liked the adventure mode. I think that was what it was called in Hyrule Warriors. I wouldn't mind something like that. That was cool to unlock all that shit. I also hope that the story, you know, we can learn a little bit more about the champions, because they're probably the most interesting characters in the game, the original, and that's good. And then we find out what happens, which is, spoilers, bad things happens. It's not going to go well. It's called Age of Calamity. That doesn't bode well. We've played Breath of the Wild, most of us have at least, or some of us, and I would say that we know where this is going, but hey, it's a good framework for a game. I wonder if it's going to have multiplayer. I wonder if it's going to have any classic character unlocks, because, you know, this could be all Breath of the Wild stuff, and that's cool, but what they did with Hyrule Warriors, the amount of support they gave that game, where here's Tingle. Of course I mentioned Tingle first. Here's Skull Kid. Here's Malin. Was it Malin or Marin? The Mark Marin. It's Mark Marin. He's in the game. And then you have, you know, there's all this great, like, stuff that you could unlock, you could download, and it just felt like they kept supporting that game. For something like this, it would be cool if you could unlock some of the classic variations of Link, and maybe even some other characters. Vinny, co-op was already confirmed. Cool. Vinny said, I can't wait, Vinny, I can't wait for your weapon to be broke and then you gotta go off and find one while being harassed by sentinels. Okay. That was my favorite part. That and rain climbing were my favorite parts of Breath of the Wild 2. Or 1. And hopefully not 2. But yeah, it looks good. And again, this... I thought it was the same engine, but modified because of the shaders. But I think they probably just have the same models. Then they replicated the shaders and then built their own engine, especially for performance issues where they, you know, could have 100 enemies on the screen at the same time. But yeah, I mean, anything to flesh out the story of Breath of the Wild more is great. And Hyrule Warriors is fun as fuck. I'll be honest, chat, as cool as this is, my Nintendo Warriors idea, where you have, like, kind of a World of Light, but Warrior style, I'd still really want that. You could have... Think about it. It would be great. You could have a Samus level, a Metroid level, you could have a Mario level, and then you could mix and match characters. You can have, oh god, Detective Pikachu, maybe not him, but on Captain Falcon's level. You can have, you know, Captain Falcon fighting alongside Samus on Zebes. Maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. Maybe Kid Icarus would fit nicely with the Zelda thing. Unlockable pit. Anyway, that's my idea. But otherwise, this is exciting. It's something to play, and it's really, like, came out of nowhere. There were no rumors about this. At least I heard nothing. And there were no leaks as far as I'm aware, so cool. Let's hope that Nintendo can still meet a couple other release windows, and we'll get a couple more announcements over the next couple months. And maybe they'll just be like, hey, this next game is dropping in a month. This next game is dropping in 2 months. That would be fine. That would be fine. I don't know why they're not putting these all together in one direct. I understand these are quote-unquote unprecedented times, but, you know, you could still throw them together in a direct and people would get excited. But what they're doing now, like I said before, they're probably making sure they have the ability to release these games when they want to, and instead of announcing them too early, they're going to announce them when they're just about done. So, I can live with that as long as we get some stuff, because this holiday season, even with this and the Mario stuff and Pikmin, is still pretty light in terms of new games. And I feel like there's going to be some more stuff. But Aonuma and Warriors developer, thank you. Koei? Is that it? Albunga. Tecmo. Cool. All right. Well, hey, that's my... Listen, I don't have a ton to say. You could watch Zeltic for, like, a full trailer analysis, and I'm sure many other channels have the same thing, but Zeltic did a really good job. So, next update in a couple weeks.